Okay, man, Jonathan, thanks for doing this. We are relatively new professional acquaintances, I think. We met through Annabelle. And what was interesting about you was that you actually trade crypto and then buy stocks, which is kind of like quite interesting. We're going to be trying to do a bi-weekly session on crypto market updates because I don't think a lot of people in Malaysia look at the crypto market in any great detail. And your views were interesting to me when we met. So hence, we're doing the session and hopefully once every 2 weeks, at least for the start. So what I understand is that you started off life in traditional finance, I think in energy, oh sorry, commodities. So maybe I'll pass back to you. Tell me about your background for the audience benefit, and then we'll get into the crypto market from there.
Sure. Thanks, Trong, for having me. So, I started my career in the financial advisory industry in Singapore. Back then, I was a licensed financial advisor, licensed under MES as an independent financial advisor. So, I was one of those guys that were selling unit trust insurance to our clients. However, it reached a point of time when I felt like, hey, that's not what I want to do. Kind of reached a stage where I felt that there's so much more to the financial industry. So, it was a point of time. I still remember when I first got into into the financial industry. Shortly, within 6 months, it was the Lehman Brothers collapse. So the stock market was collapsing, and at the point of time, I realized that in times of financial crisis, gold is the one that preserves your wealth, and gold price was pumping. So I started off being a blogger. I will be blogging about what I'm learning about finance, and I was talking about gold and silver. And then it reached a point of time when people are asking me, hey, John, how do you buy silver in Malaysia? And I actually shared with them, because I was based in Singapore at that point of time, then I started to share with them, how do I buy it? And then people are asking, can you buy it for me? So I then started a blog called silvermalaysia.com, which later on became a company by itself that was selling physical silver bullions. And I later got into crude oil. I was already investing into stocks when I was in university. So I was basically a very traditional finance guy. So around 2017, a friend of mine spoke to me about blockchain, spoke to me about Bitcoin. And I was like, yeah, I heard about this a few years ago. It's a scam. And I told my friend, I will never touch this kind of stuff. And he told me, he said, no way. He said, you don't understand blockchain. You don't understand Bitcoin. And I asked him, what is it that I don't understand about? So he sent me a series of YouTube videos. And back then, there weren't a lot of YouTube videos about crypto. You can like watch all of them within a week on YouTube. So I watched them all. I went to the bookstore, MPH. I still remember at the point of time, there were only 2 books about blockchain. I bought them both, read them both. And then I felt that this was interesting. I started traveling around the world to attend crypto conferences. And then I got sucked into the rabbit hole. So I've been in crypto since 2017. Right now it's around now it's around 8 years. Been through 3 bull market in total. The 2017, 2018 was my first. Then 2020, 2021 was my second. And 2023 till now, I would say this is my 3rd bull run. Experienced 3 bull runs. Now, what I do is I'm a full-time trader. I trade crypto and I invest into stocks. My principle is this. A lot of people say, hey, you just buy crypto, you hold for long term. My point of view is the only crypto that will increase in the long run is only Bitcoin. The rest of them is very subjective, right? Because it's a very competitive space in the blockchain space. So I won't even say that Ethereum is one thing you can hold long term because there's so many Ethereum killers right now. So today I'm a full-time trader, but I also have a YouTube channel called Coin Bureau Chinese. This is a YouTube channel that I started last year. It's in the Chinese. I speak in Chinese in the YouTube channel, but it was acquired by Coin Bureau Group, which is the world's largest crypto YouTube channel. And we are now a part of that group where I run the Chinese division there. Yeah, so what I do is I'm a full-time trader. I invest and also I share my views on YouTube in Chinese. Yeah, so that's what I do.
Yeah, I'm really interested to talk to a lot of people who made the jump from traditional to blockchain and digital assets. I think still a lot of people are very cynical about this whole space, and especially for my generation, they're like, wow, it's a scam. Even, when I talk to John, when I talk to my friends who are my age, right, very few of them do shares. Very few of them do stocks. They think, oh, cannot make money. And the way they look at the stock market is very interesting because they think it's a scam, they can't. And then they look at it like a gambling, like a casino. Oh, when I play share market, I lose money, so I don't play anymore. So I say, bro, the main reason is, first of all, the use of the word play. It's not play. You got to invest for the long term. So for those who don't even get onto the crypto ladder because they don't even get, so it's kind of like a transition, right? You buy shares, so you buy your real estate, you buy your insurance, and then you slowly buy some gold, then you get to your shares, and then maybe you get onto the blockchain, or maybe you got into Bitcoin. I think penetration in Malaysia is still very small, right? I mean, generally speaking, even globally, right?
I think in Malaysia, we are talking about less than 4% of the Malaysian market is in who have invested into crypto. Even you look at US, which is considered very ahead in the market, is also less than 20%. So I would say that we are still at the early stage of this asset class, and this asset class is going through a transformation and evolution where it's now going through regulations. So I would say we are still at a very early stage of this asset class. Just to answer your questions about some of those guys who say we are here to play the game, right? I think that's the issue here. Many people out there are speculators and gamblers. They're here to get quick tips. They always come to me. They say, John, what to buy now? What to buy now? And I can be very honest with you. I can tell them what to buy. We might buy at the same price, but I may not be able to tell them when I'm selling because crypto market is moving so fast. So we can buy at the same time and they still can lose money, right? So I think the key here is really to get yourself educated, to understand fundamentals, to understand macro, to understand technicals, because crypto has evolved. It's not like what it used to be in the past. Today it's starting to become like a hybrid of a digital asset with a bit of aspect of a traditional asset.
Yeah, just now you talked about how Bitcoin over the long term is the only one that is almost guaranteed to rise in value, right? What did you mean by that?
I won't say it's a most guaranteed. Okay, I won't say guaranteed, but if you look historically, for the past 10 years, let's look at the past 10 years. The best performing asset class. You look at real estate. You look at equities. You look at commodities. You look at Bitcoin. It is so far the best performing asset class, and the reason is simply because, especially in the past few years, the past 2 years, Bitcoin is evolving. In the past, when I first got into crypto in 2017, the guys who got into crypto initially before me, these were the tech geeks. Either they are tech geeks or they are in illegal business. These are the guys in the dark web, right? Later on, what happened was the VC, the venture capitals, the guys who understand tech, not deep enough, at the same time understand finance, people like me, then we get into it. Okay, that was around 2017. And it was still retail investors. It was still normal investors like you and I. And then you look at 2020, was when I think it was that was the year when Elon Musk started buying Bitcoin. And everyone was crazy, right? Because finally, a public listed company, Tesla, was buying Bitcoin. And then MicroStrategy, another public listed company, coming to buy Bitcoin. And then last year was the year when the Bitcoin ETF was being released. It was January last year. And that's where we start to see Goldman Sachs. We start to see Jane Street. We start to see all these financial institutions. They all started jumping into Bitcoin. And right now, as I'm speaking to you, we are also seeing countries buying Bitcoin. Like El Salvador is buying 1 Bitcoin a day. I just came back from Bhutan 2 weeks ago. And the Bhutan government is the 4th largest country in the world as a Bitcoin holder. It's crazy, right? Number 1, US. Number 2, China. I think number 3 is North Korea. North Korea managed to acquire so much Bitcoin simply through stealing. And then number 4 is Bhutan. Bhutan through mining. So right now what we are seeing is this. I actually studied the data and I noticed one thing. I noticed the holders of Bitcoin, 10 BTC and above, which is at least $1 million, is now 80% of the entire Bitcoin holdings, okay? Which means most of the guys who hold Bitcoin, 80% and above, are people who have at least $1 million in BTC alone. So it's no longer like the old days where the Wild West, the tech geeks, the illegal guys, the normal investors. Right now, we are seeing family offices, we are seeing countries, we are seeing corporations buying Bitcoin and holding them and hoarding them. So this is the reason why I say Bitcoin has evolved. While saying this, I know the upside recently has been amazing, but I also see some risk with so many corporate companies buying Bitcoin as well.
When I was doing radio years and years ago, right, my co-host David Chu and I, actually, he started to mine Bitcoin. This is like 2010, 2011. And I remember we talked about, hey, bro, want to go and buy some pizza with our Bitcoin? It was like, I think 10 cent or 11 cent or something. Then I said, okay lah. Okay, he had like about 15 or something, right? Then I said, okay lah, go order from Domino. Can you imagine now it's $109,000 per Bitcoin? It's crazy, right? So I think for the benefit of those people who still view the whole sector as kind of like a scammy, speculative, can or cannot, real or not real one, what are the 3 things they need to understand about Bitcoin to get them on board, at least in terms of understanding what Bitcoin really is?
In the past, so I think in the past, many people see Bitcoin as a crazy internet digital money. And the reason is because also because in Malaysia there's a lot of money game, right? So a lot of money game also kind of use cryptocurrency as a form of fundraising, come up with a story to raise funds. But if you really look at Bitcoin, you look at crypto, it's all being built upon the technology called blockchain. So I think for anyone out there, the first thing you got to understand is what is the technology behind Bitcoin or major cryptocurrencies. I'm not saying all cryptocurrencies, but major cryptocurrencies. So you got to understand blockchain first. And the second thing about Bitcoin is right now, it has evolved compared to the past, where right now it's now a part of a strategic treasury reserve for certain companies and also certain countries. I think US kind of created a part of their strategic Bitcoin reserve already. Just last month during the Bitcoin conference in Miami, Pakistan was another country that says they officially launched their strategic Bitcoin reserve. And there are many other states like Texas in US has also officially launched their strategic Bitcoin reserve. So Bitcoin today has evolved to become like another asset class, like gold, like oil, like bonds, like real estate. So we have really reached that stage. So right now, I think it is so funny if someone tells me that they do wonder if Bitcoin is a scam, because this is already what we call digital gold. You look at gold, why people treat gold as an asset. What is the usage of gold? It was simply because many years ago, everyone came together and agreed that this is the most valuable asset around the world, right? And today, Bitcoin has reached that digital status of gold. So I think it's so hard for anyone out there to say that, hey, this is just a fad, this will pass, this entire thing will crash. It has changed.
So there's a few numbers I want to throw at you, right? Right now, I think Bitcoin is a $2 trillion asset class, market cap, versus maybe gold. Gold is about 21, 22 after the run up. So people say, oh, one of these days it's going to come to the same market cap as gold. Do you agree with that one? That's the first number. The second number I want to ask you about is the fact that although officially 21 million Bitcoin in circulation, I think only about 19 or 20, because the rest hasn't been mined. But of that 19 or 20, about 4, maybe 5 million of Bitcoin is missing because missing wallets or whatever, lah, right? Mishaps or accidents, right? Do you believe in the first number? And of course, do you believe in the second number? Because out of 20 million Bitcoin in circulation, maybe 15 only in real circulation, which means it's a very, very limited supply asset. Do you believe in those two numbers?
I believe in those numbers because we are seeing so many people out there who formerly mine Bitcoin or formerly held on to Bitcoin, but back then they didn't take this very seriously. They kind of threw away their thumb drive, their hard disk, and they kind of lost that billions that they're supposed to have, right? I read there was somewhere this guy who threw away his hard disk, and then later on he realized that he had a lot of Bitcoin in his hard disk, and then he went to buy that junk where his hard disk was being thrown. He's still searching for that hard disk. So I think this is very common, and I just don't know what is the exact number, because I think a lot of these numbers are roughly there, roughly right. We don't really know what is the exact number. Yeah, so I being in crypto for the past 8 years, I do see a lot of people who actually share with me that I used to have Bitcoin in this phone, and then I lost my phone, I lost the password, I don't have a way to access it.
Bitcoin is 2 billion, 2 trillion. Gold is about 22 trillion, right? This cycle, maybe this cycle, right? And I know it's far fetched, right? But do you think you can even get half to half gold market cap now, which is 10 trillion, which is actually 5 times current price? That's too big, right? Obviously.
So if we were to get to 5 times, we are talking about 500,000 per BTC, right? If you go on the internet, you'll see a lot of people like Cathy Woods Invest calling for like $1 million per BTC. You will see people like MicroStrategy calling for like 1 million per BTC. I think that day will come, but not so fast. I don't think it will happen within this cycle. I think we still need some time. By when, I don't know. I think this is something you gotta continue monitoring.
Yeah. So I've been watching your threads, right? And you're one of the few people that actually use threads, lah. Okay. But there are a couple of so threads is good because unlike Twitter, right? Threads actually you can add your own comments below. And I saw that you have been remarking on Donald Trump's one big beautiful bill, lah. So of course Elon Musk doesn't like it because it's going to blow the deficit even bigger. But you seem to think that the one big beautiful bill is going to have a good consequence for asset prices. But maybe you got some slides to share, right? Or maybe you can share your threads and we can talk through it, because I think it bears discussion, lah.
Right. Yep. So actually, I have a report. I'd be happy to share this report because at Future Trends, what I do is I do write reports and then I share it with my Future Trends members who are part of my premium subscription. So this was last week. I kind of posted this on the 4th of July, right before Donald Trump signed it. So at the point of time, it was passed in the house. And what I actually shared here was this. I shared that this is US is like a dude who have massive debts, max up his credit card limit, and then right now is gonna print even more. It's going to max it up even more, and then they're gonna spend even more, and this is gonna add around $3 trillion to his national debt over the next decade. So if you look at US, I think US, there's a debt clock right now. Right now, this debt is how many trillion? This is like 37 trillion. So if US continue printing more money, they continue to get into more debts, what's going to happen is this. There will be more mistrust towards the US dollar. And what's going to happen is gold is going to increase, and then Bitcoin will also increase. So this was actually the essence of this thread that I prepared here. So in this thread, the reason why I use thread is because my Twitter account is used for my company. So I use thread for my personal. So over here, I actually shared that what's going to happen is when there is mistrust towards the fiat currency, towards the US dollar, I predict that gold will get stronger. And then I predict that over here, crypto as well. I think when the market goes into quantitative easing mode, which I believe they might have to after they reduce the interest rates, then gold and BTC, which is Bitcoin, will be the winning trust narrative.
How does it play out though? Because it's quite a long-term thing, right? Because when does the spending begin?
I don't know when is the exact spending beginning, because right now it's just being passed and Donald Trump just signed it just a few days ago. But I do know one thing is for the next 3 years at least, while he's in power, when this big beautiful bill is happening, we will see more massive printing by US. And another one that I'm constantly tracking is this. I think there's two things that I track when it comes to Bitcoin price. So let me show you something here. Now, let me show you something very interesting about Bitcoin price. Now, if you notice Bitcoin price, okay, this is Bitcoin price. The blue color one is money supply. Okay. Now, do you notice something? When money supply goes down, okay, when money supply goes down, Bitcoin price either stay the same or it also goes down. Okay. And then when money supply goes up, Bitcoin price goes up. When money supply goes flat, Bitcoin price goes flat. When money supply increases, Bitcoin price goes up again. And then when money supply went down earlier this year, Bitcoin price also took a dip. And right now, when money supply is increasing, Bitcoin price is also increasing. So right now, what I'm actively tracking is things like this. One big beautiful bill. Will it provide more liquidity to the market? I'm tracking interest rate. So all this will affect the liquidity in the market. And if there's one thing I notice is this, Bitcoin is highly reactive to the global money supply. Yeah.
I understand that the correlation is about 88 to 90% correlation to M2, which is global money supply. So I noticed that the blue curve, the blue chart is actually money supply, right? And then you've got the other curve, which is just below. So there's a lag period between where money supply is going and where Bitcoin price is going, right? So right now we've been seeing this kind of like plateauing of the Bitcoin price at about 105, 110, 105, 110 for the last, I don't know, few weeks, right? What happens next?
Yep. So right now, if you notice this chart, if I show you the Bitcoin price, yeah, we are going through a flat, quite boring. Since here until now, we have been moving flat for the past around 47 days. Okay. I do think at this point of time, right now is summer months in US. So a lot of fund managers, they are all on breaks. And usually I notice something in summer months, crypto is also very, very slow. Okay. When will the interest rate in US be reduced? And we are estimating it to be around September. Okay. Last week, when I noticed the probability of interest rate being reduced was actually higher. It was around 70%. But I noticed one thing last week where the unemployment results came out. It seems like unemployment results are okay. And then the need for them to reduce interest rate actually came down lower. So my estimation is this. my estimation is I actually do think the market will move sideways for a while. And then after that, I'm expecting more liquidity in the market around September. And then, of course, with all these one big beautiful bill, all of them being implemented, then that's where I do think we should see a bull market coming in Bitcoin again.
So the bull run has been going on for the last at least maybe 2 years really lah. It's been quite a long rally. I think we came up from something like 15,000, now we're about 109,000. So it's come up quite a lot. Like, I don't know, what is that, 6 times now? 6x from the top, from the bottom to the top. Top is about 112 and bottom is about 15, right? This whole issue of liquidity hitting and then the second half being a rally, right? What is the probability of that? And how many, a lot of people are talking about this rally that is going to happen into the second half, right? What gives you the most confidence that this is going to happen?
For me, I'm watching US dollar. DXY has been going down. What I'm also watching is liquidity. Like what you mentioned, the probability is around 80 to 90%. It's not 100% for sure. I do think Bitcoin should have one last leg up before it has a massive crash. Because one thing for sure is from 16,000, right now, 16,000 I think was around 2023. I still remember at the point of time it was massive fear because Bitcoin price dropped from 60,000 to 16,000. And then after that, I kind of only dipped in around 21,000. I didn't manage to buy at 16,000 because I was one of those who were fearful at that point of time as well. So at the rebound, when it went back up to around 21, that was when I started buying. So if you look at the low of 16,000 of 2023, I do think we should still have a bit of lick up. Then next year, I do think we may have a potential crisis in Bitcoin price as well.
So I should mention that this is definitely not financial advice. I'm not mentioning to you that you should run by. I mean, gotta say it because, neither of us, not that there's an official certification for crypto licensed financial advisors, but there's just two guys talking about where the price is going to go, right?
Yep.
So the issue is because there's so much interest from both sovereigns, which is to say countries, as well as from public listed companies, to hold it as a treasury asset, right? There's this idea that those crashes, 90%, 85%, downturns of the past will no longer be a reality because of this perennial bid. What do you think about that?
I don't think
Because you
so.
talk about you don't think so?
I don't think so. When people say that there's no way Bitcoin price will go down anymore because Bitcoin is now held by institutions and countries. Now, don't forget one matter of fact is right now we are seeing more and more companies launching what we call the treasury, the Bitcoin treasuries for the company. And it all started with MetaPlanet. It all started with MicroStrategy around August 2020 when they started buying Bitcoin. And then later on what they did was this company, MicroStrategy, it was a software company. And then what they did was later on they started borrowing money to buy Bitcoin. And then the share price actually pumped up so much. And last year, if you notice, Bitcoin price went up so much. Almost 28% of Bitcoin flow last year came from MicroStrategy alone. So they are the ones that is pumping up and holding on to Bitcoin, holding up Bitcoin price last year. 28%, I think that's huge. That's good, but then there's also danger because one company contributes to 28% of the flow. So I think that's very crazy. So right now they have a flywheel. And the flywheel is they are raising more money, buy Bitcoin, Bitcoin price goes up, their share price goes up, they borrow more money. So this is their flywheel. And because their share price has been pumping so well, there's more and more companies that's copying this strategy. MetaPlanet of Japan, right? MetaPlanet is also, they call themselves the MicroStrategy of Japan right now. MetaPlanet is only a restaurant, it's a hotel group, restaurant and hotel group that is now borrowing money to buy Bitcoin. And then now we are seeing people launching special purpose acquisition companies of vehicles. They are now launching all these empty shells, borrowing money to buy Bitcoin. Now, my question right now is this. Doesn't this look a bit like they are trying to short squeeze the Bitcoin price? They are borrowing money to pump up the price. Now, my question is what happens if Bitcoin price goes down? These are all leverage bets. And because I came from the gold and silver background, I still remember in 1981, the price actually went up very high. It was less than $10 and it went up to around $49. And it was simply because of these brothers called the Hunt brothers. They short squeezed the silver market because silver, like any commodities, limited supply. They bought a lot, short squeezed the market, and then later on over leverage. Later when the price dumped, the company went bankrupt. So I think what MicroStrategy is trying to do is using the same formula, borrow money, push up the price, share price goes up. And now everyone is doing the same. MetaPlanet, ProCap, so many. Every single week, there's a new company that comes out and say, I'm going to borrow my money to buy Bitcoin. And because of that, their share price goes up. I do think next year, if there's a dip because of Bitcoin, if there's a dip in Bitcoin, it's because of all these over leveraged companies.
Okay, so in terms of the prices, obviously nobody knows where the price is going to go. Nobody knows how low it's going to go. Nobody knows how high it's going to go, right? For the layperson, say if you're advising let's just say your sister, family connection, right? So at what price do you think you would advise your sister to, hey, maybe, just cash out a bit, don't leave so much on the table? At what price? Okay, and how low do you think it's going to go?
I don't dare to do price predictions because at the end of the day, in times of euphoric moments, when everyone is so bullish about Bitcoin, the price will pump like crazy. So I really don't know what's going to happen. And usually in times of fear, the price will dip like crazy as well. So it's so hard for us to catch the top and it's so hard for us to catch the bottom. But I will share with you what I advise my mom. So earlier this year, my mom asked me, should I buy Bitcoin right now? That time the price was 110, 100 plus lah, right? Earlier this year. And then I told her, no lah, everyone buy, you shouldn't buy. You should wait until everyone fearful, everyone is scared. Newspaper is saying that crypto is gonna crash, that's when you buy. So April came. March, I came back from my honeymoon. She called me, should I buy now? I think Bitcoin that time was 80 plus. And I said, nah, not yet. And then April came when everyone was saying that Bitcoin is going to go back to 50,000. And everyone was giving up hope on Bitcoin. I still remember I bought for her at 75K. So my view is always this. When everyone is jumping into it, that's the time for you to exit. When everyone is so fearful, saying that everything is over, just look at what we call the crypto fear and greed index. So there's an index called crypto fear and greed. You go to this website called coinmarketcap.com. Okay, I'd like to show you this website. Just go to this website. You can see this crypto fear and greed index. My strategy is...
The problem, John, that crypto greed and fear index, it can go from 20 to 75 in one day,
Not so fast lah. Maybe a week. Maybe a week. Yeah. Happened here. For me, when to buy is always I wait for massive fear. Anytime below 20, I think this is good time to dip. Yeah. How high it will go, I will say every time at extreme greed, you gotta be very fearful. You gotta be very fearful because this is the time when everyone is trying to buy. And this is
So
always...
this is basically the crypto equivalent of RSI, right? Maybe you can explain. You try to explain RSI to the audience, so then you can equate back, so they can understand this.
Sure. So I also use the stochastic RSI over here. You can see over here. Okay. Every time when you see it, okay, this is overbought, here is oversold, right? Every time it's oversold somewhere here, this is actually a good time for you to dip in because things are oversold right now. When every time it goes up here, it's usually overbought, right? So I do use stochastic RSI as well in terms of analyzing. But the best bet for me has always been look at crypto fear and greed index because oh, sorry, you can't see my screen, right? Are you able to see my screen as I switch? Oh no,
I
you
can
can't
see your
see my
screen, but I can't see your pointer, lah.
Oh, okay. Let me see. Let me move the screen. Let me just move the whole window. I think if I move the whole window, it's easier now. Okay. Yeah. Now you can see that, right? Okay. Now you can see this. So RSI is called the relative strength index. So every time it's below, it means that it's oversold. When it's top, it's overbought.
So 75 and 25, 20 below 25 is oversold. Above 75 is overbought already, lah.
Yep, correct. Yep. So when to buy is always oversold, right? At oversold stage is always the best time to buy. But of course, it's not 100% accurate because if you have bought here when it's oversold, the price went up a bit and then it continued dipping, right? Then you probably want to average down somewhere here. However, what I usually like to do is I like to use the crypto fear and greed index and I match it with RSI because usually when it's below 20, that is the time when everyone is saying that crypto is over. This is the time. If macro-wise, it shows me that liquidity is coming. It shows me that there's more money being printed, whether it's US or other countries as well. If macro-wise matches with the direction where I think it will be going over the next midterm to long term, then that's the time I buy. Okay. However, this doesn't work in like 2023 because back then, if you look at it over here, okay, at one point of time over here, if you look at it, actually 2022, because 2022, this doesn't work because if you bought when RSI is oversold, okay, you bought it, it goes up a bit and then it continue dipping, and then it continue dipping, and then it continue dipping. So it doesn't work over here. Why? Because at the point of time, interest rate were increasing, so there was less liquidity in the market. So this model of knowing when to buy doesn't work. Okay.
Match the traditional RSI with the coin market cap greed and fear index, and then also you also overlay the macro picture lah. So what's your prognosis for the second half? So I'm not going to ask you what you tell your subscribers, but I just want to ask you what you are personally doing for your own portfolio for the second half. What are the factors? What are the data points?
Personally, at this point of time, I do think if you, so I do watch few data points, right? First I look at SPY. I think in terms of the US stock market, we kind of just broke all-time high. Okay, you look at SPY right now, it's crazy. We just broke all-time high. As you can look at RSI, is very high right now. I think everyone is very bullish right now. This is the time I'm a bit more fearful. I'm not buying anything right now. Okay, if I look into Dow Jones, okay, still is somehow at the top already. If you look at Nasdaq has also broke that all-time high. Now, Bitcoin. Let's look at gold as well. Gold, I think, is still on the uptrend. All these stocks, Nvidia, all these guys kind of all broke all-time high. So I don't think this is the time for us to buy any stocks, my opinion, because all of them already broke all-time high. The time to buy was actually around April because everything was cheap. Okay. Now, for Bitcoin-wise, I do think we should expect a consolidation. We will expect this consolidation to continue to take place until probably around August. I am looking at it probably going back to around 100K, consolidate here, because this is the time when there's very little liquidity in the market, especially in July, August as well. And then when interest rate is potentially reduced around September, this is where then I expect that we should have another leg up. Okay, of course, this is not financial advice. This is my own game plan on how I look at the Bitcoin price. And I do think when interest rate is being reduced, when Bitcoin price at a point of time, when it starts to go up, all these guys who are doing Bitcoin treasuries, all these guys that have been buying Bitcoin, having leverage bets on Bitcoin, they will be able to raise more funds. Okay. And when they're able to raise more funds, this is where we should see more liquidity being pumped into Bitcoin. Okay. So at this point of time, this is how I am preparing the market. I do think right now, stocks is a bit expensive. Bitcoin is kind of at the top here. One of the things I'm also worried is this. If you look at Bitcoin price, it always hit this resistance level and then it dips. And this resistance level is getting lower. We call this a lower high, right? So this doesn't look good. This doesn't look good. We need this to have a breakup up there. Then this gives a confirmation that the bull run is here. So right now, I don't see that confirmation yet. Technical wise, I still think we should be consolidating here in the short term, at least the next 1 month.
It's very interesting how you analyze, because you've got this mixture of technical analysis, then you've also got macro data points. And then because you look at stocks, and obviously I'm sure you look at earnings as well, there's some fundamental analysis in there, right?
Yeah.
So from a portfolio allocation perspective, right? If you're not buying anything now, and maybe I presume you're taking some profits off the top, right? How are you storing your liquidity? How are you making it work for you in the meantime?
Myself, right now I have two portfolios. One is the stock portfolio and one is the crypto portfolio. Both I'm like 50% in. So in stocks, I'm like 50%. I'm 55% invested, 45% dry powder, waiting for a crash. I'm waiting for Trump to do something about
Wait,
it.
hang on. Did you say 45% dry powder? That's a lot, right? That's half cash, right?
Yeah, yeah. And the reason is because in April, when I was buying the dip, I usually will set 3 levels. And then it hit my first level, it hit my second level, it did hit my third level for some of these stocks. So some of them only hit my first level. That's why I only managed to allocate 55% in. Crypto-wise, right now, I am also very similar. In crypto-wise, I'm around 55% invested as well, 45% dry powder. So if you ask me why am I holding so much dry powder, is because I do think the July, August month is boring months. That's where I'll be able to get more opportunities in the market. That's where I'm buying the dip.
Okay, very interesting, man. So you think so quiet until maybe August, September, then some movement, hopefully, right?
Yeah, I'm expecting the movement to come only around September.
Okay, so I'm hoping to do this every 2 weeks with you, right? For the time being. Isn't that right? Right?
Yeah, sure. Let's do
Yeah.
this.
Okay, man. Looking forward to it. Oh yeah, one more thing. So you say about for I think many Malaysians, I think you said 4% of Malaysians only are in the crypto market. The rest, of course, they don't know. You've got a seminar coming up for those people who are trying to get into the industry, right? The ABC lah, the how to get in, right?
Yep.
Maybe you can talk about that, and then if anybody's interested, they can sign up. I think we've got a link below as well.
Sure. I'd like to share with you one more data, and this is the other data point that I think is very important. Now, if you notice, those guys owning 10 BTC and above is the blue line. Those guys owning 10 BTC and below is the orange and the red line. So if you notice something interesting is, since March, the guys who are owning 10 Bitcoin and below, the amount of holders have been going down, while the guys who hold 10 BTC and above, this amount has been increasing. So right now,
Well, what does that mean? So you mean the long-term holders are buying more and keeping for the long term?
it means this is not the long-term holder chart. The long-term holder chart is another one. This is how many BTC per wallet owns. So the wallets that own 10 Bitcoin and above, which is at least $1 million US, is increasing. The crypto wallets that's owning $1 million US and below, which is 10 BTC and below, is actually decreasing. So it shows you something. This is the time when those guys who have $1 million and below are selling, and the guys who have 1 million and above are buying. So I think this is a very important chart because a lot of people think that right now Bitcoin price has been holding up very well because a lot of people are buying. Not true. Retail is not back yet. I'd like to show you another very important data. Is if I come to this tool where I'm able to look into, let me see, social media. So I do subscribe to a lot of such tools in order for me to make my assessment better. Indicator dashboard. Oops. Yeah. Let me see if I can pull out the charts here. So this is also a tool that I always use to see whether the retail investors are back yet. So you can see something. This is YouTube subscribers. YouTube subscribers was very high in 2021. It was very high earlier this year. Right now, not much YouTube subscribers for crypto. Okay? So people are not interested in crypto right now. So this actually shows you something. It shows you that the retail is not back yet. The retail is not interested in crypto yet. Those guys who have $1 million US and above, these are the rich. So the rich are buying. The middle class and the poor, they are not buying. So for you guys, if you want to capture crypto, you want to invest into crypto or any stocks, I think the very important thing is we want to buy when retail is not buying. Okay, because by the time when retail comes, it's usually the top. It's usually the cycle top. It means it's time for us to sell. So if you guys want to learn about crypto, I have what I call the 3 days crypto profits challenge. This is a program where if you do not understand crypto at all, don't worry. we will share with you guys our methodology. As you can see, I use macro analysis, I use fundamental analysis, and use technical analysis in order for me to analyze how to invest into crypto. And this is a program where day 1, we will guide you guys on how to set up your account. Day 2, teach you how to trade. And day 3, teach you how to make your first profit in crypto. Okay. And this program, the good news is it's completely free. So if you guys are interested to learn, you can go to the description on this video and you can sign up for the 8 to 10 July workshop. It is 8 to 10 p.m.
That's tomorrow night, man. Okay,
Yeah,
I better make sure I get this video up soon, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, man. Hey, thanks a lot, dude.
All
I'll
right.
speak to you
Cool.
soon. Okay, man.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, take care. Okay, bye.